Hello friends. Today I will talk about the New Zealand mini-series of 2021, consisting of 6 short episodes called Creamerie Twin. Roos destroyed all the men in the world. Somewhere in the men's locker room something irreparable happens, and the men fall to the floor one after another. After 8 years, peace and idle reign on Earth. Only now all this goes exclusively to women. Representatives of the fair sex of all ages gather on stage, from elderly and gray-haired ladies to little ones who have barely learned to stand on their own feet. At the end of the performance, the pregnant online founder of the women's community comes on stage and, after making a fiery speech, announces the start of a lottery, the prize in which will be the opportunity to receive male fluid and the chance to become a mother. 3 friends and distant relatives cross their fingers so that one of them, Jamie, will finally get her chance. Her number will appear in the drum, but the girl can only share this happy moment with Pip. Since Alex is taken away by security for provocative behavior, the girl still cannot come to terms with the new rules. The Constant brings the arrested woman into a room where she must implant a chip under her skin that will deprive her of her sanity, and it turns out that the accused and the uniformed employee have known each other for a long time. Quite pleasant actions happen between the girls, but after that the Constant still completes the task. After pulling the trigger, Jamie and Pip return to the farm and begin working with the cows. When a company car brings them blessed Alex, this is not the first time that a girl is punished by a country with a procedure, so her condition does not surprise anyone. Her relatives calmly fasten her to the bed, and they leave her alone. Jamie comes to the clinic for a preliminary examination. Another woman is sitting in the corridor with her, and Lane is broadcasting from the screens, talking about how only the healthiest and strongest women are selected for motherhood. In the office, the girl hears many compliments from the doctor, but also hears a reminder that if she has a boy, he will not be born. Alex comes to her senses, also in an inadequate state, and finds a note on the mirror addressed to herself, and the girl goes into the bathroom, where she cuts out a chip that makes her feel a little underdeveloped. Jamie meets a girl in the room and asks her to put on a hat and a plaid shirt to represent her deceased husband Jackson, with whom Jamie had a common son. Such cross-dressing is punishable under the new rulers, but the girl agrees. Jimmy returns home and they sleep. They realize that Alex has disappeared in the bathroom. They find many traces after removing the chip, but the girl herself is nowhere to be found. Alex comes to visit his mother in secret at this time. The elderly woman does not understand that her daughter is next to her, since many years ago she was subjected to a procedure that completely deprives her of her sanity for claiming that there were surviving men on Earth. Reluctantly, Pip gets behind the wheel to go in search of her friend, but before she has time to drive away from the farm, the girl hits someone along with Jamie. The driver gets out of the car and sees a hooded man lying in the bushes. The girls are sure that this is their relative, but Alex suddenly appears nearby. As if nothing had happened, the girl herself approaches the man lying down and, having removed his hood, discovers that this bearded man is bringing the man to the girl and tying him up, trying to find out who he is. Pip is constantly hysterical that everything needs to be reported where it should be, but Alex understands that this is their chance to change their lives. And she reminds her friend that it was she who violated the traffic rules and beat up the man, which brings her to her senses, and Michelle comes to the farm to discourage her from informing. Lane's assistant, while checking the living conditions of the applicant, the woman hears strange sounds from the barn, but Alex quickly hides the prisoner and pretends that she is a very narrow-minded fool, which does not raise any doubts in the blonde. Jamie calls Pip at work and sobs to tell her that she has been kicked out of the procreation program. In this stream, the Pic decides to help his friend and goes straight to the Lane, hinting that she might have made a mistake or simply forgotten to put Jamie on the list. But such insolence only angers the founder, and she puts the girl on the list prohibiting participation for life. Pip doesn't know how to tell her friend that, due to her fault, she has no chance left at all. Alex finds a photo of his mother from the guest and tries to find out why the unknown man was looking for her. Bobby claims that he is not the only survivor, and somewhere there is a place where men are not exterminated, and the woman in the photo was the keeper of the key, but since she is no longer there, it means there is no one to find out more about this place. Jamie comes to your bar and hands the man a mug, begging you to share it with her with his liquid, but the shocked man does not answer. Then Pip comes into play and resolves this issue as compensation for his wrongdoing. Having received the precious material, the girl carries out the fertilization procedure. The girls come to the store and see that the saleswoman is very depressed about something. It turns out that the woman was also denied the right to become a mother, but unlike Jamie, she humbly accepts this, completely relying on the will of Lane for the opportunity to take a shower. Bobby agrees to give the girls another portion of liquid to consolidate the result. Pip brings the guy into the house and watches how he washes himself, standing under the stream of water. So how, after the procedures, the guy did not want to return to dirty clothes. Pip gave him her pink sweatpants and a fitted t-shirt, complete with aromatic body gel. The guy's appearance caused a lot of ridicule from the girls. Alex comes to the prisoner with alcoholic drinks and snacks, and, taking advantage of the fact that she quickly gets drunk, Bobby persuades the girl to untie his hands. The guy has a chance to escape, but due to a leg injury, he is unable to get far, landing in cow dung. Bobby returns, pretending that he was just going out to get some air. Then the guy decides to turn to the girls for help and gives Alex the SIM card that his friend Thomas managed to give him before he became a victim of the hunters. In the morning, Pip brings fresh clothes to the guest and watches how the man sleeps, which makes him the object of jokes from his friends. Returning to the barn, she tries to convince Bobby that she didn't come to look at him. Jamie decides to do a good deed and leaves a refrigerator with biomaterial under the door of the saleswoman so that she can try her luck. Pip comes to work and sees Lane in his office, a saleswoman from a store who sincerely decided to tell everything is executed. The girl manages to call the farm and warn her friends that a patrol is coming to them, and without wasting time, goes to them, ahead of the arriving cars by just a couple of minutes. At that moment, when the company is hiding behind the barn, watching the visitors, the phone into which the SIM card was inserted rings. A male, hoarse voice, without explaining anything, repeats the same phrase, "Get up," and then calls the coordinates by which you can find a safe place. The farmer women and their captive manage to escape, but Pip gets behind the wheel, and the company falls into the trap of the huntress, since the law-abiding girl does not allow them to exceed the speed limit and drive into traffic barriers. The fugitives have to deviate from their intended route, and they find themselves at a strange annual holiday dedicated to all sorts of women's affairs. In order not to betray their guest, the girls hide him in a large muni-suit and disperse in different directions so as not to attract attention. Lane catches the peep and invites the girl to betray her friends and her guest, and for this she promises the secretary an increase in her kind of relationship and all sorts of benefits. Peek leaves without answering anything, but the founder's words can't get out of her head. Jamie Jia, while riding on a Ferris wheel, realizes that the plan worked. She feels sick, and it's unlikely that the stale food in the crowd of girls keeps imagining her dead husband Jackson. And she completely forgets. What and why is she here? Huntress manages to catch Bobby and drags him into her car. The girls have to go in pursuit of a friend from Jamie, but they manage to jump straight into the van with the kidnapper, and she ends up in place. 1. Using tranquilizer darts, the girl frees the man and takes him away, informing her of her situation. Pip and Alex find the couple and, getting into the car, decide to drive on in search of a safe place. But Pip decides to betray his friends and brings them straight into the hands of Klein. There, Alex Jamie is put in a cell and prepared for a procedure that will erase him. Prepare all their memory and reason for the operation. A constant comes to them, with whom Alex sorts things out. The pizza ends up in a luxurious room, where a shower and a box with an expensive and beautiful evening dress are waiting for her. Hands. On the other hand, Lane herself sits down, and her friends sit in the remaining seats. The evening turns out to be interesting, but noticing that Pip and the main guest are emotionally sorting things out, the founder loses her temper and puts the guy right on the table. She demands that Pip do anything with him, otherwise she will have to sacrifice her friends. In the operating room, the process of removing Jamie's mind begins, and Alex is brought there by the Constant, at the direction of the founder and expelled by the medical staff. Citing orders from management, the security guard helps the girls escape, but asks them to play it off as if they attacked her. Alex asks to do it herself, and pressing the trigger, puts the same chip in her friend's neck as she put on her not so long ago. Peep asks her friends for forgiveness, and all the girls run away together. They block the road of Lane, who is bringing her captive somewhere. The girls deal with the founder, not paying attention to her position, and save their friend. Despite the fact that he now doesn't really trust Pip, in the end the man runs away from everyone at once, but the girls know that they need to look for him using the coordinates that he received over the phone from an unknown person. Having arrived there, the friends find Bobby at the same time as the huntress, but finding themselves in the very shower where it all began, the company is distracted from their personal problems, as someone begins to release gas into the room. The huntress helps Bobby and the girls climb into the ventilation shaft, while she remains below. At the last moment, Alex notices the same symbols on her hand as her crazy mother, who for many years tried to prove the existence of living men. Stuck in the pipe, the company swings it and falls to the floor in the room, which plunges them into shock. In front of huge screens with all sorts of films, men are sitting tied to chairs, to which milking machines are connected to extract liquid. Horror and pleas for help froze on the faces of the unfortunate people. But before Bobby and the girls have time to figure out what's going on, Lane appears in the room, along with a doctor from a reproductive clinic. A woman talks about what's going on in their plans to subjugate the whole world, because the amount of liquid that is in clinics is already running out. And when will it finally run out? The founder of the male farm will be able to independently decide who and when to give the opportunity to reproduce, controlling the population. But Lane, it is recognized that despite her power, she is far from being the creator and not the main thing. At this point, the leader comes out of another room, completely shocking the girls. He turns out to be the deceased Jackson. As they thought, Jamie's husband and Alex's brother Bobby knows a guy named Thomas, but is also very surprised by this situation. Jackson demonstrates how skillfully he can change his voice when calling on the phone. Get up. This is where the wonderful series ends. I hope we will get monetization back someday. I'll finally create my own review channel. I'm so determined. Because in a sober mind, it is unrealistic and even dangerous to watch this. Friends, thank you for watching. Write in the comments what you think about this New Zealand series. Don't forget, please support us with likes and subscribe.